Greetings, everybody. Welcome back. We're here on break at work at the facility in the nice map room here of San Juan Center. So this is exciting stuff here. Welcome to Stacks, Snacks, and Other Tasty Vectors. So today we're going to go over some elements of fun radar control, right? In this case, some more vectoring, this time vectoring for separation at an approach gate, right? You can apply this to any gate here at San Juan, or if you're watching, maybe you can apply this at your facility. But what we're talking about is using vectoring to establish separation at the gate when you are given a stack of aircraft, right? Two aircraft landing the terminal area, and you have to achieve radar and then some separation, maybe for a traffic management initiative or something like that. So let's get at it. I'm excited. We're here at work. I'm pretty pumped here. A little better atmosphere than the apartment at home. So I will see you at the next slide, and let's get down to business. Okay, see you there. So today's title of the bullet point slides are, did somebody order a sandwich? Now, you probably didn't, but you're getting one anyways. So let's take a look what we got here. My goodness, would you look at this? Same speed, 2,000 feet of altitude, both landing San Juan. JetBlue 275 from the Bradley Airport and Delta 559 from Atlanta Airport, right? Flights we deal with every day. And exciting types there too, two Airbus products there. So let's solve this using vectoring, okay? So obviously we're gonna have to solve using vectoring. I mean, you can try speed control from FIPEC, which is the position there over all the way to Sailor. I don't even know if most extreme speed restriction will have you realize radar separation, let alone whatever kind of separation we're aiming for today at the gate. But maybe that's a different topic for a different day. But yeah, let's solve this with vectoring. But first, let's use some light math and plotting to solve this. Now, I am not well versed in calculus. I did not take a very advanced math in high school, but I have an idea. We are going to be dealing with triangles here. And unfortunately, we're not dealing with right triangles, or else we'd be able to use the Pythagorean theorem. But I don't think you came here to learn the Pythagorean theorem. If you want to learn all of that stuff, believe me, YouTube is a valuable source for all things mathematics. But here, we're going to use a little plotting, a little institutional knowledge, and a little bit of logic as we make our way through. So ready, set, jets, go. I will see you at the next slide, okay? Keeping in mind that there are many ways to skin a cat, right? But this is my plan for this situation. So my first, after taking the briefing, right, and my first move would be JetBlue 275, turn 35 degrees to the left, vector sequence, right? Perfect, right? You turn the aircraft 35 degrees, you tell them why, that's good phraseology, and they read back 35 to the left, JetBlue 275. Now, why 35? Okay, hear me out here. Let's assume some variables here. Both aircraft are the same speed, doing around 8 miles a minute as most turbojets do, right? So 480 knots, right? That's a given, right? So we have all things considered here. Two aircraft are going to perform the same in the stages of flight, right? They're at cruise now, in the descent, and when they hit the ground speed area near Sailor, okay? Both aircraft will perform the same with respect to turns, right? We assume that when we turn these aircraft at various points throughout their duration of their time here in the sector, that they will perform the same, okay? We will be able to ensure speed to maintain spacing, right? We've covered speed control before, right? So this will be no different. So we have that on our side, right? All these variables are on our side, what we'll look to achieve. Let's see what kind of constant lateral spacing a 35-degree vector will create, right? So we know that JetBlue 275 is going to turn out to the east while Delta 559 remains on course. Now, the beautiful thing about vectors is as those lines go out into infinity, right? One going southeast, one going to the east, they will continue to create separation at an exponential rate. So bearing that in mind, let's go back to take a look at a visual aid and visualize how this is going to work out. Okay, see you there. Okay, so 35-degree angular difference between two aircraft at the same speed, starting at the same point, right? We're assuming that these aircraft, well, they did. They were on top of each other at FIPEC. Will generate 4.5 miles of lateral separation after 1 minute, 9.8 miles after 2 minutes, 14.5 after 3 minutes, 19 miles after 4 minutes, 24 miles after 5 minutes. So look, we can see how this exponential growth and constant increase of angular difference is going to work to our advantage while we try to realize the spacing that we need. you can almost see at 1 minute at 35 degrees of difference, we're almost at radar separation, right? We're almost at 5 miles. Double that, and you see how we almost chase it, right? 5 miles, almost 10, so double what you need, almost triple what you need at 13, almost 20 at 4, and almost 25 at 5 minutes. So you see how we're basically chasing. Every minute we go, we move up another set of separation required, right? 5 miles in the en route environment. Okay, so let's keep going with this. All right, stay with me. Okay, so let's apply this to FIPEC, right? So we know the inbound heading on Yankee 355, right, going southeastbound towards Poya, then joining Route 7 to San Juan as per the pref routing, is about a 140 heading. Our 35-degree left turn, that vector we gave, is about 105, right? 35 minus 140 gives us 105. Each green number you see there represents a passing minute, right off of FIPEC, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as it goes southeastbound. And that is because 8 miles a minute, right, for 5 minutes is 40 miles. So you see those yellow numbers there, right? So we're looking out 5 minutes into the future at 40 miles, right? Perfect. Each orange number represents the lateral distance growing as the aircraft separate, right? We covered this, 4.5, 9.8, 14.5, 19 even, 24 even. And see how exponentially the lateral separation increases after each minute. So we can see how this is going to work. It's going to require a couple of things on our part, right? One, a little faith in the idea that this will work. Constant watching of the clock, right? So be patient, right? This is not going to be instantaneous. We're already looking at a 5-minute affair here. And monitoring speeds, making sure that you keep the variables, the given variables that we have present, the same, right? We want to make sure that we are all playing on the same playing field, this Airbus A321 and this heavy Airbus A330. Okay, so let's go back to the sector. Let's put the aircraft and show you along the timeline, and let's talk our way through this. Okay, see you there. Okay, so far so good. Look, we have the time. We have a little clock there for reference. We have Delta 559 on Yankee 355, right, untouched, as JetBlue 275 is now established on that eastbound heading. So far so good. So now what's stopping you from starting either of these two aircraft down, right? We know that we want these aircraft to play by the same rules. Remember, for this method to work, ideally the aircraft should be in the same phase of flight the whole way. So we want to make sure they both start their descents at the same time, their speed reduction at the same time, so they do fall right in line as mathematically theorized, right, by what we just plotted out. So descend the trailing aircraft first. We know that from speed control back in our Borinquen series, and assign a speed for the descent. So go ahead, let's do it. JetBlue 275, descend and maintain 1000, San Juan altimeter 2992, do not exceed 290 knots, expect Sailor at 1000 at 250 knots. So good. So you started the aircraft down, right? This is not a pilot's discretion descent. Good. You gave the altimeter. Good. You gave a speed restriction, right? Not to exceed, right? Perfect. And then you also told them at the end of this vector, when we're done having you on this eastbound heading, you can expect this. So they know what to expect. So it almost sets up their expectation of what to do and how to configure the aircraft when they get that south turn back to Sailor. Very good. Onwards and upwards to Delta next. There we go. Okay, so we moved up another minute into the future there, and you see how our lateral separation is being realized, right? Okay, looking good. Now time for Delta 559's crossing restriction, descent, and speed assignment. So go ahead. You got this. Delta 559, cross Sailor at maintain, 1000 at 250 knots, maintain 300 knots or greater, and San Juan altimeter 29902 if you're so inclined. Perfect, right? So now you have Delta on, still on the route, right, on that 140 heading inbound to about Pling, and they'll turn even further southbound. And JetBlue 275, as you see, they started their descent. Speeds are still looking good. Things are good. You got this. This is easy, right? Just patience is key here, right? These what is 2 minutes now and what will be into the future, the 5 minutes will be really long. It'll feel very long because you'll be doing other things like, dang, are these guys separated yet? Can I turn them back yet? But like I said, be patient, be cognizant that you plotted this out and you know it'll work, and that'll give you peace of mind as you watch them do their thing. Okay, let's keep going. Yet again, fast forward another minute into the future. Perfect. So far, so good. Continue to monitor the speed and descent rate, right? Make sure that they are playing by the same rules. You want them to be ideally right around the same descent rate, obviously the same speed, so monitor that. Continue to scan the sector. Chances are you're working 4 and 6 combined, so you have something else to do, right? Maybe over in the Ionu Bay, maybe something to thank, maybe a radar service termination here, maybe you have a Punta Cana departure or arrival down to the southwest, so you have other things to do, but just continue to monitor this, right? Feel free to put a range ring, right? You could put a ring around to see what kind of distance you're aiming for. You can always do that. Or also a continuous distance readout display. You can use your decision support tools to help you out here, right? And that will help you to start to prepare for the next bullet. Start thinking of when JetBlue 275 can be cleared direct sailor, right? Now just remember, right now we are realizing lateral separation, right? We don't have the entrail yet, right? Now, as the aircraft converge on sailor, that is where one falls behind the other. And if all goes well, it will be JetBlue 275 following Delta 559 falling in line. So we are turning this lateral separation as quasi-lateral separation instance. And as the aircraft converge on sailor, they will fall behind each other. In this case, JetBlue 275, thanks to our restriction and vector, will fall behind Delta 559, right? So just think of it as one kind of transition, right, of separation, the lateral separation aspect, and then falling into more of an entrail situation, but you're maintaining that. So here we go. More on that in a little bit. Let's take a look at the next slide. Okay, not too much to say on this slide. You notice not too many bullet points. We are seeing our way through the woods. We are seeing that light at the end of the tunnel. Now, don't get too hasty for the reasons I just described. We are looking at a lateral situation, right? Nothing will disrupt this more or start to diminish whatever separation we have already achieved by turning the aircraft too early, because at that point, we have now put them back on the same course. So they are no longer diverging with lateral separation with the hopes of achieving a certain amount of lateral separation that will ensure that they fall behind. Now you just kind of ruined it. Now you're gonna have to really babysit this and watch this, okay? So just keep that in mind, right? And that's why you'll see in this little experiment we're doing here on this PowerPoint that the 5-minute mark will be ideal for reasons to be explained in the next slide. Okay, very good. Let's keep it going. Good job with that. Time to finish the job using direct to your advantage, right? Look at it right here. We plotted out again. We have our little triangle there showing that each progression along the way, we have realized that 24 miles of separation. And look what we have here with everybody playing by the same rules, right? The field being level and all things equal. Delta 559's current position from sailor is 101 miles. If JetBlue 275 were to make that right turn back direct sailor, they will be 116 nautical miles north of sailor. Converging yet, but falling right behind, right? So monitor the progress of the aircraft, and you will end up with 15 miles, give or take, at sailor, right? Watch for overtake and compression at sailor as aircraft start to make their way back to that 250 speed restriction you gave, right? So that 15 miles will give you some buffer and not have to have you babysit the situation too much. So, excuse me, go ahead, finish the job. JetBlue 275, clear direct sailor, cross sailor at maintain 1000 at 250 knots. Do not exceed 290 knots in descent. Perfect, well said. You said exactly what you want and what you need from JetBlue 275 to make this happen, right? You worked so hard to ensure it. You were patient. You monitored the situation. Don't let your last few stages of seeing this thing out screw you up. Delta 559, clear direct sailor, comply with restrictions, right? So now you have them both aimed at sailor, right? Delta 559 will not hit Pling and join Route 7, right? They are now going to make a slight smidge of a southeastbound turn and go towards sailor. So good job with this, right? You were able to have a sandwich of aircraft, right? 2 aircraft stacked on top of each other with no separation whatsoever. Targets were merged, right? They were superimposed on top of each other, and you were able to not only achieve radar separation relatively fast, but within 5 minutes, you have 15 nautical miles of separation, give or take, to work with, right? So maybe there might be a flow restriction into sailor arrivals, some kind of TMI, or maybe you're just know that there's bad weather and their rate has slowed down or something like that, and 15 is what you're aiming for. Anyway, whatever it is, we did a good job and we did it well. So very proud of you. This was a short and sweet presentation today because we're here working, but that's fun, right? This is always fun. You know, you work on break and you work in there too. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's another tool in your tool belt. The rule of 35, not saying it's some official grandiose concept that should be applied in some, doctrine or written into gospel in 7110, but you can see when aircraft perform the same, you ensure that they perform the same through every phase of flight, from cruise into descent into ground speed entry, that you can make it happen with a 35-degree vector. 35 degrees is not too crazy of a vector that's off course, where they are actually worried like, okay, where's this guy sending me? Or where's this gal sending me, right? No, 35 degrees are still eastbound, right? And, it should work out. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little something. I know I did. Preparing for this presentation, learned a little bit about getting back into the swing of things with studying triangles and vectors and exponential lateral separation. So anyway, I'll see you at the next slide for the send-off. Whoa, John Rambo is impressed with that squad automatic weapon, full of thumbs up, man. Just built, just thumbs up, thumbs up. And I have to agree, if I had such a weapon, which I can't because I'm currently at a federal facility right now, no weapons at work, guys, or at least firearms anyways. But I would go until I didn't have any ammo left, just like Rambo does often in all of his movies. So nice job with that. Rapid fire likes improvement by Rambo himself. He is very pleased with that sequence, as am I. I share that sentiment. Wonderful job with that, right? Just remember a couple things, right? Be confident, you're right, that things work. When you plot things out, you get a newfound level of confidence, like, hey, you know what, if I apply this whenever I'm training, or if I apply this downstairs, guess what? It should theoretically work, right? It's backed up by some kind of research, right? Some kind of mathematical resource, right? So good. So when you're confident with it, you're patient, and you monitor your work, everything should end up fine. Now, granted, this is yet again talking about a situation that we are under in a microscope, right? We're in a laboratory environment, right? We are in a vacuum. But guess what? If you can see your way through all the distractions and all the things that are going to get in your way from you fulfilling your plan, you're going to be great. And that's honestly, that's 75% of the job, is putting your plan into effect while a whole bunch of other factors and distractions make their way to rent space in your head. So anyway, I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. I'm Steve. May your separation always be like your attitude, positive. You guys have a fantastic day, and I will see you again soon.